Mike,
Yes.
we all know it. Let's not hide it. You are a big fan of the New York Jetropolitans.
Yes. Nice touch there. A little Steve Summers. Good job.
The Jetropolitan Football Club of New York. And they find themselves in an interesting position right now because Sam Darnold's been the quarterback for, is it 2 years now?
3 years.
3 years. Thank you.
No problem.
Failed every math course I've ever been in.
It's not an issue.
But they have found themselves near the bottom of the NFL in most categories, most importantly wins
for
the last 2 years, all while Darnold's been the quarterback. So, of course, obviously, when Deshaun Watson, the 25-year-old quarterback from the Houston Texans.
26.
26? Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
Well, wow. The numbers are not really my thing. I'm more of a talky guy.
Yeah, don't worry.
Well, of course, you really threw me off my rhythm. Of course, Deshaun Watson would be somebody who the Jets would be interested in when he is up on the trade market, if you will. A hot stove season of football. So, really, let's think about it here. Now, Deshaun Watson, of course, led the NFL with 4,823 passing yards. Now, the Jets have the number 2 pick coming up in the NFL draft, meaning whoever has that number 2 pick will likely draft a quarterback whose name does not rhyme with Schmever Florence. So,
yeah, sure.
The Jets have, you might say, 3 options here as to what they can do in terms of the quarterback position. First option, keep the pick, stick with Sam Darnold, and draft someone who's not a quarterback. Option 2, trade the pick, and probably more, to the Texans for Deshaun Watson. And number 3, keep the pick and draft a quarterback out of the collegiate level. So, Mike, I'm very interested in your opinion as a Jets fan. What would you like to see happen? What do you think is going to happen? Lay it all out.
All right. So, first off, the first thing that you brought up, the idea of let's just draft somebody else to keep Sam. The more that I sit here and the more that I read Twitter and the more that I think over the 3 years that have been the Sam Darnold era, I like Sam. I wanted Sam when we drafted him. I was rooting for Sam. I feel bad for Sam that things have gone the way they did. The mono, having Adam Gase as the head coach is like having mono 10 times. I am very glad that he's gone, but I think unfortunately the best thing for the Jets and the best thing for Sam is to move on and to part ways. So then it comes down to a matter of, do you want to take a quarterback with the number 2 pick, or do you want to just trade for Deshaun Watson? And to me, I want to trade for Deshaun Watson every day and twice on Sunday. If you have the opportunity to draft a 26-year-old franchise quarterback, you do it. I don't care how many draft picks you give up. They're lottery tickets. We never know. There is no such thing as a sure draft pick. Do we know if we draft Zach Wilson, for example, he's one of the quarterbacks that maybe the Jets could draft it too. Could he end up being like the next Steve Young? Oh, I'm sure he could be. He could also be the next Ryan Leaf. He could be awful. We don't need that in this organization. Just think about the quarterbacks. This is just me in my lifetime as a Jet fan. This isn't like my grandfather or my father. This is just me. These are the quarterbacks: Mark Sanchez, Tim Tebow, Geno Smith, Matt Sims. Who else do we got? Greg McElroy. Josh McCown, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Christian Hackenberg, Bryce Petty. Do you understand what I've been going through, what I've had to deal with? Do you know how painful that is to wake up on a Sunday morning and say, oh, yeah, we're looking forward to today to see Bryce Petty play. This is going to be a good one. You've got to get me Deshaun Watson. The other thing about the Jets is what they're lucky, and this is my man Joe Douglas, who, let me tell you, if we get Deshaun Watson, you're building the statue for Joe Douglas right away. You're building it. You're building it outside of MetLife Stadium. Joe Douglas, through the Jamal Adams trade, through some other savvy moves, we have this year alone, we have 6 picks in the top 100 draft picks. And for the next 2 years, this year and next, we have 2 first-round picks. So conceivably, the Jets could trade our number 2 pick this year, a first-round pick next year, and a first-round pick in a couple years from now, and then maybe another first-round pick, or maybe you throw in a second round, so it's 3 first rounds and a second, or something like that. Maybe throw in Sam Darnold too, and the Jets would only be losing what, 1 first-round pick, and they would still have 2 from these Seattle trades. The Jets could get rid of their first-round capital and still have first-round picks. It's a no-brainer. And Joe Douglas showed with the Jamal Adams trade, he's a savvy guy. He knows how to pull something off. And this isn't, Mike Ditka trading every draft pick, and I don't know what year this was. Then some draft, back I think it was the late 90s when they took Ricky Williams and they traded every draft pick.
I don't remember what year either.
Or the Herschel or the Herschel Walker trade where the Cowboys got all these draft picks from Minnesota. This is a quarterback. So I know I'm going on a rant here, but get me Deshaun Watson. I need Deshaun Watson. I need to buy that Kelly Green #4 Deshaun Watson jersey off of NFL Shop. So that's all I'm going to say.
I'm really glad you ranted there, because that's exactly what the show needs always. But it's interesting you bring up dreading Sundays. Your team's in a rut when an 11-year-old that roots for you would rather get up in fancy clothes and go to church than watch his team on Sunday. It's a terrible position to find yourself in. But in terms of what the Jets should do, I share every single sentiment that you do. I don't dislike Sam Darnold. He seems like a fine gentleman. He's had a little bit of misfortune as the quarterback of the New York Jets, but at the end of the day, he was touted and he was picked and he was brought to this team to be a generational talent, a generational quarterback that would move the team forward. And here we are 3 years in, and they're still at the bottom of the barrel in every single offensive statistic. Most importantly, like I said earlier, wins. It failed. Unfortunately, it failed. It might not necessarily be Sam Darnold's fault. It's certainly not only his fault, but it failed. That's what we're looking at the end of the day. So I'm completely with you. Look, do whatever is humanly possible to trade for Deshaun Watson. There are a lot of teams that, according to multiple reports, have a better chance of making the trade than the Jets. But the Jets need to put every single card into this. They have to. Draft picks, like you mentioned, they're just lottery tickets. Do whatever you have to do. That's a really great draft pick you have, New York Jets. Go ahead and use it. And here's the thing, because I will be the first one to say, especially with the Jets, that whenever a new quarterback or a new head coach comes into the situation, or new general manager even, that the media and perhaps fans also will tend to think of that person as, oh, that was the silver tuner. That was the missing thing. That was the squeaky wheel that needed the grease. And I'm always the first to say, nuh-uh, you're going to have to do more than that. But in terms of Deshaun Watson, that's a big step. So if I'm the New York Jets, I agree with you, Michael. Whatever you have to do.
Yeah, I would look. Well, to get to your point, look, the Jets have a lot of issues. This organization is one of the worst run in sports. It's been one of the worst run in sports since its inception, more or less. I mean, that's why you don't win. That's why you don't even get to a Super Bowl since 1969. You have terrible ownership. So the Jets have a lot of issues. Now, I will say they've taken steps in the past few months, years to mitigate that. First off, hiring Joe Douglas last year. That was a huge step forward. One of the most well-respected GM candidates in football circles. It was a great move. And I think his first draft class, Mekhi Becton, Denzel Mims, we'll see with Ashton Davis. I like LaMichael Pirine out of Florida. He had some good moves. The free agency left a little to be desired, but Joe Douglas, that was a good step. Hiring Robert Saleh, who was the hot coaching candidate. And mind you, Saleh picked the Jets. I can't remember for the life of me a time when the #1 coaching candidate, the guy that all the other teams wanted, picked my team. We are the ones getting the scraps that are left over. We don't get the hot coaching candidate. We didn't get Kyle Shanahan. We didn't get we got Adam Gase after he was well beyond being a hot coaching candidate and just being a terrible head coach. But the Jets, that between Douglas and now Saleh, and if we get Deshaun Watson, I mean, look, I am a religious man. I believe in signs. That has to be a sign from God. No, I mean, that's the Holy Trinity right there. The three pieces are coming together. And also, I'm like, that meme, that meme of from that show, God, what's the show with Danny DeVito?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he has like all the pinpoints in the map, and he has like that conspiracy theory. That's what I am. I have all these tweets lining up. I see Deshaun Watson, I was at a 2, and then I'm at a 10. And then I see this video of his agent saying, we're looking for a car in jet green. And then I see Richard Sherman saying, oh, he should go to the Jets. I mean, I am dying for this to happen, but I think the Jets, to get serious for a second, Deshaun Watson is a huge step forward, but I think they've also made some moves personnel wise to kind of change the culture that we have.
That is a big part of this. I think the way teams move forward, I think it's something that just in the state of New York itself, I think it's something we've seen with the Bills. That's why they have been able to find more success, but also right in the New York metropolitan area, the main thing that the Brooklyn Nets have done to make themselves a better team is a changing of culture. I can't tell you tangibly what it was, but there was a changing of some kind of culture, and that's exactly what the New York Jets need. I completely agree with you there. There's, like we've been talking about, it's going to take more than one person. If Deshaun Watson is the answer, he's not the only answer, but he's a big step forward. And perhaps an acquisition of a guy, a 26-year-old quarterback who is just as good as just about most anyone in his class of quarterbacks. If you are able to say to yourself, he wanted to come play for us, that is a shift in mindset that will move you forward. It's just it's a matter of the human mind. So that's the most important thing to talk about. Any last thoughts here, Mike?
Yeah, I would just say real quickly, because I know we have to get onto so many other topics to cover. The Jets, not only should we get him because it's the right thing for the franchise, if we're to believe that report that came out that says he wants his Jets are the first choice and the second choice is Miami, you cannot let this guy go to the Dolphins, because then what's going to happen? You're going to play Deshaun Watson twice a year. You're going to play Josh Allen twice a year. And I'm telling you, Matthew Stafford, you might go to New England. You're going to play him twice a year. The Jets, you're not going to turn this franchise around when you're playing the toughest division in football. You have to get him, not only because it's what's best for you, but it's going to really hurt your opponent in the Dolphins. So that would be my final thought.